Hi everyone, Chris from MartialBody here, and in this series of videos I'm going to be explaining a little bit about the MartialBody System, what it is, how we train it, why we train it, and also answer some of the sort of common questions that I get asked about this system. In this series of videos we're going to be covering a wide range of topics, from the way that the martial body manifests in application in your martial art, to how we train fundamental attributes like heaviness or stability. So I hope this series is useful to you. I'm going to try to release them on a very regular basis. And in this specific video, we're going to be looking at the first question that I always get asked, which is, what is martial body training? So when we're looking to answer the question of what is martial body training, I think the first thing we need to start with is, what is the martial body? Because the training is all focused around achieving that. So we need to sort of define what that is. One of the easiest ways for me to describe the sort of attributes of the martial body is to turn a question around to you. Have you ever trained with a high-level martial artist? It could be from any system or any style. I'm sure if you have, you will notice that they often feel different. They feel like they have a certain quality to their movement or their power or their changeability that is somewhat indescribable. It doesn't really marry on to necessarily just technique. It doesn't marry on to necessarily just physical conditioning. It seems to be that they have this quality about them. And certainly many of the martial artists that I met, from a wide array of different martial arts, from Russian Sistema to various Japanese martial arts, to Chinese Kung Fu and Chinese internal martial arts, to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Judo, MMA, the top level people all have this uncanny and somewhat unusual level of body skill. And that unusual level of body skill is the martial body. That's what we're aiming to create. Now, most of those people have developed that body and that capability from often decades of training. It is the result of decades of focused and extremely dedicated training. And over that time, they produce this sort of common feeling among them all, where they have a set of attributes that are highly useful in martial arts, but very often not trained with targeted focus. So this martial body, this quality that the elite level martial artists have, is what we're aiming to develop using a specific methodology, and that is the martial body method. So when I was traveling around and I met lots of these high-level martial artists from lots of different systems, over time I used to make books and books of notes. And over time I would read these notes and I would say, well, these various things are all similar in all of these people. And over time I started to group the methods and the feeling of the individual into certain categories. And these categories make up the 6 bodies of the martial body system. They are the 6 attributes that I've defined, that if you develop them all, you gain this unusual quality to your ability. And the 6 qualities that I identified are heavy, stable, connected, agile or elastic, complex or spiral, and fluid. I will go into these attributes at great depth in later videos, but for now, if you think about someone having all of those attributes, they would feel extremely hard to move around, for instance, and very powerful with their strikes, because they would be stable and heavy, let's say. They would feel extremely strong because their body is expressing what I call the connected body. The whole body is using every bit of itself to move. They would be very agile. They would be able to move with great speed because they have elasticity. They would be able to move in complex ways because they have a spiral nature to their movement, or the spiral body. And they would be able to move with amazing changeability and freedom because they have what I call the fluid body. And I'm sure if you think back to these amazing martial artists that you've met from all these different styles, some of those attributes will start to, okay, yeah, he did have that. He did feel heavier than his size. He did feel stronger than he looked. He did feel more agile. He was able to move out of the way of things without hardly moving. So the development of the martial body and the martial body method that is aimed at developing the martial body is all about creating that unusual quality to our movement, our skill, and feeding that into the martial arts that we practice.